Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is an academic turned entrepreneur. After getting his PhD, he started up his own company, BOXPR, which he closed in 2010 to become an interim entrepreneur. He will explain how the experience and lessons learned from starting and losing his first company helped to lay the ground for a new career orientation. Please welcome Benjamin Damien.
Hello, thank you for the introduction. So, yes, should be coming. Hello. So, I'm indeed a scientist, I'm a biologist, so that's why I called my introduction the life cycle of our university spin-off, because as a biologist you believe that everything is a beginning and life is a end, and at the end of any living being, something else can grow out of it and make it something different. So it's a kind of life cycle in different consecutive cycles. And the little plane is just because I'm fascinated by aviation, so I tend to make comparison, you'll see about it. So this is my story, so fasten your seatbelt. The emergency exits are left and right. So indeed, I started from a family where there's no role model, no entrepreneur, no self-employed in the family, mostly workers. Some of them are probably still blocking the road south of Brussels at the moment. But they usually finish at 4 o'clock, so that should be okay. I said, indeed, a scientific background, which is the kind of career where you have no training in finance and management whatsoever. And when I came back from Germany after 6 years, I wanted to be closer to the market. Science is okay, but I want to make product. I want people to use it. So I want to work for a company. But at that time, there was already a crisis. It was called dot-com bubble, or the internet bubble, as you want to call it. So the industry was not hiring at that time. There was a middle way. At that time, regional governments were trying to push scientists as much as possible into the market, into creating companies. So there was a spin-off project when I could work. And I said, well, I could do that. What could get wrong? And the technology was, let me go quickly about it, was about bioinformatics. That was a time where science was starting to generate a lot of data. So the problem was not understanding the data, I was just trying to make your way through gigabytes and gigabytes of data. So you needed basically people that are expert in science and expert in computer science just to make the software to analyze the data. And well, there was a rare profile. So companies were looking into academics for collaboration, and I said, well, that could be a good ground for a company. We could make a service company providing that kind of expertise. And so we worked on a business plan in 2002, and I did some business training to learn what's a business plan. And basically we got the company created in 2003, a very small one with 2 in the beginning. Managed to raise a little bit of capital from a seed fund, and my own loan into a bank just to get money to be to consider as one of the founder, being the founder. And surprisingly, it works. So quickly, we got one customer, 2, 3, 4, first in Belgium, and then internationally, and for the last year on the graph, we made about 60% with foreign companies. And well, we make profit, so we make money, which is something very unexpected. So well, life is great. And the thing is, when it works, I mean, this is not a big company, but our biotech spin-off goes, it was probably one of the few ones that make profit. You kind of become an example. So people show you around, you are interviewed on TV, on newspapers, you get prize, you get cited by famous people. You show up on TV and so on. People ask you to make forward in books. So, great, really great time. I enjoyed it very much. So, okay, this is 2007, 2008. Everything looks okay. Our little plane is flying higher and faster. Everything seems fine, but okay, what can we do to make it better? So, it's a service company. So, a service company, you basically fix the problem of the customer, then the problem is gone, and you have to find another customer. So we have to find a way to make the money recurrent. The growth is pretty limited. I mean, you work an hour, you invoice an hour, so it doesn't make any multiplication in the growth. It's, as you can imagine, a very much niche activities, a very limited amount of customers. And the problem is that, well, we have one type of customers, all big pharma companies. So, I mean, what can happen to a pharma company? But indeed, if they are scared, they might react all in the same way. So about some discussion, we say, okay, let's try to switch to a product type of approach. You have a toolbox of little software and bits of software. Let's try to make a software that you can sell. You can sell CDs. So we'll give you a bit of money, hire more people just to develop that new bit of software. And at that time, I remember that in terms of the service part that was continuing to work, I was announcing that the result of 2008 would be even better than 2007. We had 10 people at that time. And you know, when you read the business press, you could hear about a crisis, people having trouble in the US to refund their mortgage, but there was really nothing here, so everything was okay. So the holiday, the summer holiday in 2008 passed, and then when we came back in September, you probably remember about it, it's Lehman Brothers. So meltdown Monday, that failure, that bankruptcy triggered up a series of cascade of events that are still basically happening today. So the share price are going down, oil price are going down, jobs are lost, and so on. So that's a real evidence of a real crisis locally. And the next morning, the phone started to ring. Hey, Ben. How are you? The project's really great. We really want to push it forward. But, you know, if you've seen the news, people are really freaking out. So we had a meeting yesterday. They couldn't make it through. But be sure that next week we've got the project green light and we move around and we move forward. And then the week became 2 weeks, and then a month, and then 2 months. So a lot of little blinking red lights appeared on our dashboard, of course. So we are starting to lose money. Revenues are decreasing. The new projects are more difficult to get, and the software we developed is actually not selling well. Something we didn't know that the first account that is frozen for a pharma company when they have trouble in cash is buying software. And the company is losing money for the first time since startup. So what should we do? And I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's Flight with Denzel Washington. But you have the discussion between the young pilot, which is just pulling on the control. I mean, it's always work. Let's pull. Plane will raise. And all the pilots say, now, this is broken. This doesn't work anymore. We have to try something different. Which means wait and hope it cures itself, or basically make the company lighter. 5 people. So, but that means in a small company, you don't have any redundancy. So if you fire somebody, you lose that part of expertise. It costs a lot of money. I mean, with people at that level, you probably think about a year of salary. So that's a lot of money. And if he stays there, the effect on the company will be felt only a year later. So maybe the crisis will be gone. And the thing is that they are my friends. I'm making barbecues with those guys. They've mortgaged, they have kids. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. So indeed, we decide not to decide. The board and myself decide not to fire anyone. First mistake. And well, okay, we'll try to cut the expense a little bit, but when your company, the cost of the company are 90% of the salary, it doesn't really make a difference. And we make our products a bit more flexible. Okay, you don't want to buy software, but we make it on a server and you pay €10 per click, and that should work a little bit more. And okay, but we still have people that are sitting around, not busy in projects. So to compensate, we're going to make a big European project when we'll develop new software, and then when the crisis will be finished in 6 months, we'll have even better products. Second mistake, because basically, the public subsidy is always coming late, especially in time of crisis. So it actually makes the situation worse. We have to invest money without getting any part of the public money. So, still going down. Mid-2009, we're labeled company in trouble. That opens some possibility, like to have temporary unemployment, where you can put your employee still under contract and unemployment. They will get money from the unemployment fee, and you will pay them a difference between employment and their normal salary. Okay, this should have stayed confidential, so we're very sure that nobody talked about it. But 2 days later, we got a call from Grey Dawn, which is a company gathering data and making database, selling to customers to see if their providers are strong or not. And they say, hey, we saw your name on the well-known tribunal, in the list of schedules, and could you tell us what's going on? So this was published. And of course, it made the situation worse. Customer know that we're in trouble, and the bank knew that we're in trouble, that they immediately cut some credit opening, making, again, the situation worse. So, and we finished the year 2009 with a big, major financial loss. So we had to do something. So, 2010. Situation becomes really difficult. Economic unemployment is going to finish. Our shareholders cannot help us because all their investments are in trouble. So we try two things. One, try to merge or to get acquired by a company that does a complementary business. And to request a rechtelijke organisatie, Chapter 11, so where you get protected from your debt for some time. And internally be open with the team. Guys, we're in trouble. If you find a position somewhere that is nice with you, take it, because we don't know how it's going to go in the next few months. 2010, mid of the year, failure of discussion about the fusion. That company got in trouble as well. She was kind of protected because the business was a bit different, but she got hit by the crisis. No cash, no customers left, and management is burning out. Stress kills you. After 6 or 12 months being stressed every day, you get sick. I was actually treated for a burn in stomach burns and so on. So, on my demand, the board committee to the General Assembly, and we decide to declare bankruptcy, which is, if I still compare with my aviation, comparison means this. So basically, you put your accounts in a bag or in a box. You bring it to the tribunal and say, okay, and give me your phone, give me your email address, logins. Don't go back to the office, give me your keys. Wait back home and wait, and then nothing happens. When you are a businessman, even in a small company, you get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, and then nothing. And nothing, and nobody noticed. The world has moved on. You are not that important finally. So I remember, it was in July, sitting in my garden in a plastic chair, waiting for that phone call. And indeed, later on, a curator was named. Basically, they sold the asset of the company. Those guys used to sell shops and bars, so by technology company. Ooh. So it was sold well below the value, but at least all the employees will find a new job pretty quickly. That's a relief. And for me, well, back to square one. Pretty broke, but it's because as a manager, you don't pay yourself if you cannot pay the rest of your things. So I wasn't paid for the few months, but at least the weight or guilt is gone. That's something. So after a few days, the curator called and said, could you take your private image from the computer? And just before leaving, before declaring bankruptcy, I sent an email to all my contacts, the kind. Sorry, the company is going to close. It was great working with you, and so on and so on. And when I reaccessed my computer a few days later, there was hundreds of mail of support from customers, partners, providers, other entrepreneurs sharing their own stories. And by the way, some of them are here today, so thank you guys. That was really important. And within those emails, there was a few proposals of collaboration. Okay, well, too bad. What are you doing tomorrow? We got that style project, a nice project, and we could help somebody. Can you use somebody like you? So I kind of restarted pretty quickly as a consultant in spin-off creation, development strategy, blah, 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 blah. I use usually interim entrepreneur. What? So basically, I use my network, VCs, university, companies to find new projects. When I accompany for a few months as an acting CEO, a business developer, I finished a round of capital and so on, basically using the expertise I had during a few years in my company. And you can see the kind of company we had, usually not huge company, but again, pretty promising one. And the kind of story I try to tell them is that, well, keep your eyes on the horizon. It's difficult when you are busy with day-to-day activities to look at a distance, to think strategy, and to think what will happen if we have any trouble, any big problem coming up. Stay flexible. That's about the definition of an entrepreneur. There's always a problem. We should be able to fight them. Do not put all your eggs in the same basket. Try to Share your risk between different parts of your business. Do not act in panic. And what I do now systematically from our project is try to gather a group of wise men, just to meet them every 2 or 3 times a year, just to get their advice. They are working in the same field or not. It's always easy to say, but cash reserve gives you time to react. So especially for new project, do not undersize your project. It gives you altitude, that gives you time to think and to change and so on. Get a team or create your company with somebody complementary. In terms of skill, it's nice. In terms of personality, it's even better. Develop your network, because it's nice for developing your business. I was clearly saved by my network, so it's always nice for after. Do not build your project on premise of public funds. And be sure to keep a balanced life. During the 7 years in my company, I didn't take holidays. It didn't help me just to be tired at the time when you have to make big decisions. If things really get bad, in case of troubles, remember that your company is your job, not your life. So separate the two things. Your company will live after you because you might not have the right profile. And if the company fails or goes away, you will have other companies in your life. So keep in mind the big picture, meaning that you should do not hesitate to take the drastic measures necessary, like 5 people. You should not be born. If you see that you're going to fail, do not keep pushing. At some time, you have to prepare for impact. You should not think with the boat, and a lot of entrepreneurs do that when they think the situation becomes irrecoverable. They make a mortgage and make a new loans on their own, and that's really difficult to restart after a failure. And you really should trust your wife, husband, and so on to make the right decision, at least outside of the company, to change your mind and so on. So if I can make just a take-home message, your first company is like your first love. When you start, you're probably too young and prepared. It's great, it's a new world, it's very fun, but you think it will last all your life, and usually you get dumped. And it hurts, you think you'll die, you'll never love again, blah, 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 blah. But you do it again. And at least you use your experience from your past mistakes. You are more mature, wiser, better. And even if your relation doesn't have the flamboyance of the first one, at least it's built on more stable ground. That was my message for today. Thank you.
No further questions. A very honest explanation. Thank you very much, Benjamin, Damien.